everyone. Here we are at the Brentwood Farmers Market. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, pre-Thanksgiving. I'm going to be giving you my insider's guide to healthy shopping for your Thanksgiving meal, and I'm going to introduce you to some of my favorite farmers. So let's get started. So my first stop always at the Brentwood Farmers Market is my dear friend Brian from Angelino Farms. When I tell you the best eggs you have ever eaten, I am serious. They're the best, healthiest eggs you've ever eaten. The yolks are absolutely orange and they're full of 3 ingredients that you absolutely need for your brain. Choline, which makes our brain function well, zinc, vitamin A, and vitamin D. So eat your eggs from Angelino. So these are the yolks.
As good as it gets, people.
This is as good as it gets. So the yellower the egg, the more carotenoids and vitamin A. So you really want to have and strive for a yolk that looks like this. But I'm telling you, there's very few eggs that are when the chickens are raised with this kind of
39 acres in New.
People come here from all over to get his eggs. Their farm is biodynamic. They rotate their crops. Those are the things that I look for when I source my food for myself, my family, and my clients. Sourcing and biodynamic and bioavailability nutrients. He's my boyfriend. He's my egg boyfriend.
It's the truth. Everything you said is the truth. Todo es la neta.
The heart and soul of what we do is an 85-year-old man who works 16 hours a day. Last week we gave him 4,000 seeds to plant for the week. He planted them in the day. My birds are pastured. They have access to worm beds everywhere. We have we powder oyster shells, striped sunflower seeds, marigold flowers.
So the big thing,
Flaxseed for omega-3s a little bit.
It's beyond no corn, no soy, no grain. We're talking about a farm that's actually only giving what comes from the earth back to the chickens. So it's a completely different thing. There's not supplemental food that they use for the chickens except if they come from oyster shells and maybe some omega-3 fatty acids. So these are the eggs. These are what I recommend to everyone. This is what's going to go in my egg souffle for Thanksgiving, and I'll give you the recipe guys later. Okay, let's continue on. Hi everyone, my next stop is for my turkey. I'm really excited that we are only looking at turkeys that come from my favorite farm called Autonomy Farm. This farm is truly a labor of love. How would you describe their growing processes and also how their feeding of the animals? Everything's grass-fed, right?
Everything is grass-fed, grass-finished. She does do what it says right here, bare grain finished, but that's not sold in Los Angeles. Okay. So she goes both ways. Okay. Animals are slaughtered on the ranch, so there's a portable harvesting truck that comes out. Yeah. And yeah, the cows graze on large acreage, so she doesn't have to worry about the grass leaving in the wintertime. Okay. And she doesn't have to worry about the water issues that California has in place.
That's fantastic. So sustainable growth.
Sustainable growth, yes.
And also good treatment to the animals. So when we talk about eating meat, a lot of my clients are becoming vegetarians because they saw a movie called What the Health, which is full of propaganda, which is unfortunate because I do see the need to, at some points, choose a vegetarian diet when you can't get organic food, when you can't get grass-fed, grass-finished meat. But when you're having grass-fed, grass-finished meat, you're actually getting high omega-3 content in your diet. And what we need to do in our diets to prevent inflammation is we need to balance our omega-3s and our omega-6s. It needs to be 1-to-1, and our current diet is 1 to 16. That's the average American diet. That's what I'm seeing in my practice. All these clients come in with autoimmune disorders, gut disease, irritable bowel syndrome, and the list goes on. Arthritis. It's because they're eating inflammatory foods, things that are grain finished, inorganic foods, and GMOs. So this is my go-to farm. I love their monthly meat box, and I highly recommend it. You can shop them online, or you're at Wednesday's Farmers Market in Santa Monica. They're here in Brentwood on Sundays, and where else are you guys?
We're also in Calabasas.
Also in Calabasas.
Pacific Palisades, Hollywood, Encino, La Cañada, and at the smaller market, Santa Monica Market. here in
Beautiful.
Santa
So I already came here this morning, got my turkey. I got a 14-pounder, so I'm excited. The taste between a bird like this, which is, my God, so heavy. This is, let me get my workout done here. I'm gonna do my shoulder presses. So the difference in the taste is extraordinary, and you will see for yourself. If you want to see a recipe, you can contact me at lauren@laurenlivinghealthy.com. Our next stop is one that I've been frequenting for the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years. I've been dairy-free, or had been dairy-free for probably 15 years, because most dairy is completely crap, and it's bad for your digestion, and it's bad for your skin, and because what I do is all about skin and gut health, I really believe that dairy in your diet needs to be eliminated, unless, of course, you're from the Organic Dairy Pastures Farm. And this is raw milk, and I know a lot of people are afraid of raw milk because they think it has excessive amounts of bacteria, they're going to get sick and poisoned from it, but in all reality, it has the full nutrient profile, vitamin A, vitamin D. It's got more minerals and more vitamins than probably any other food on the planet. If you do have any kind of dairy intolerance, sometimes you can have some sensitivity, which is why I always recommend the raw kefir. And because we're seeing so much gut disease these days, I really put my clients on the raw kefir. Raw kefir actually helps reestablish the healthy bacteria in the gut. My other favorite product is the raw cultured butter. I recently started putting butter back into my diet, a high concentration of vitamin A and vitamin D, and we as Americans are very, very low in vitamin D. So, and vitamin A as well. So this butter is like nirvana, it's so delicious. Make sure that you're only eating dairy that comes from grass-fed cows. That is rule number one. If you can go raw, do go raw. You can find it here at the Sunday Farmers Market in Brentwood, and also Wednesday in Santa Monica. Okay, and we'll continue going on our Thanksgiving spree. Let's go. So biodynamic is the next step above organic. Biodynamic is the be-all, end-all in farming. And there's very few farms that can do it. It's totally high-maintenance farming. Because composting, everything goes back into the earth, right? Everything's sustainable.
Biodynamic is a little bit different than organic. Organic is a lot of stuff that you don't do, and we focus on doing a lot of things to the soil. So we do composting, and we feed that back into the orchard so that the nutrients can get back into the ground, and then it creates nutrients dense food.
Okay.
These are them right here. So you wouldn't want to roast one of these because these are older chickens. They're about 2 years old.
These are 2 years old.
After they're done laying and stuff like that. So they're real good for chicken broth.
So these are not for roasting. This is more for broth and
Correct.
soup.
It's a tougher meat.
Okay, that's interesting.
Everything is
These are
pasture raised. The chickens, the lamb, the pigs, they all rotate and they all get fresh new pasture every couple of days.
Oh,
The
wonderful.
whole system.
Perfect. So you're going to be at the farmers market every Sunday here?
Yes, we're
Okay.
here every Sunday.
Apricot Lane Farms, everyone. Very interesting. I want to go take a visit up there too. So at any rate, if you come down here, you'll be here. We can be in Wednesdays farmers market or not?
No, we're at Calabasas on
Okay.
Saturdays,
Okay.
here on Sundays, and in Thousand Oaks
Okay.
on Thursdays.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we'll see you soon. I love how this farm is set up. So our next stop on our Thanksgiving shop is another one of my favorite stands. It's the Country Fresh Farm, and we're going to go visit my friend Gareth, and he has the best lettuces imaginable. Now, I've recently started growing my own lettuces, but I'm having a little bit of trouble keeping my supply up, so I always fill in over here at Country Fresh Farm. So I'm particularly obsessed with French romaine, and I love the fact that it's cut and it's already washed. So we all know that the Thanksgiving meal takes a tremendous amount of labor intensive. So I always love to buy my greens here because they're triple washed, but also the quality is extraordinary. They have several varieties of lettuces, probably about 6 to 7 different varieties. They all have different various nutrients, vitamin K, all the B vitamins. I highly recommend you stop at this farm to try out their tomatoes as well. Their tomatoes are outstanding, and they also have a variety of different squashes. So these are particularly delicious. We take them, simple, cut them in half, put a little olive oil, a little garlic, a little sea salt, and just roast them at 350 for 20 minutes. and they're just incredibly tasty. At the end, sprinkle some Parmesan, if you can handle the dairy, over top. Makes a delicious dish. Kind of looks like this in the larger zucchini.
Combination.
We picked out our turkey. I'll give you some instructions on that. We've got one of our vegetables, our zucchini. We've got our lettuces for a delicious salad. Let's go find some other delicious things to add to our meal. So we're making a little stop at Frecker Farms, another certified organic
I could give
farm.
you a sample too if you'd like.
And I really do only buy organic or certified organic, so you really do have to
This
ask
one,
each
I was just
individual
saying, it has a nice
farmer
flavor. I
at
felt
each
that
stand.
I dropped it,
What are their growing
so it's a little
methods?
bit, so that's why I'm eating it. So I
Do they
probably
use,
would've picked
what
one
kind of
maybe
sprays
with
do
another
they
day or
use?
two,
What kind of
but
pesticides do they use?
still nice.
Rather than asking the question, do you use pesticides? Because typically they'll say we're pesticide free.
No, not
There's
yet.
a lot of other ways to get pesticides into the soil, so you've got to do a little bit more detective work to find out what
50
farmers,
cents a pound.
when they're not certified, what their growing practices are. So again, I stick with my certified organic farms. So I think for my Thanksgiving meal, I'm going to make a couple different salads. I think I'm going to also, because I love the look of the spinach, I think I'm going to do a yummy spinach salad. And I love the look of these radishes. So radishes actually are healing food. And the medical medium talks about radishes in this book, and they're actually very good for the thyroid. So I'm going to chop some radishes and with some spinach, but spinach, because it tends to be bitter, I'm going to add some sweetness to it. So I'm going to cut up some persimmons as well. Next up, I'm going to head over to my friends at Ace Ranch. Best organic avocados. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
These look like they're about 2 to 3 days out. We might have to put them in a brown paper bag to get them ready for Thanksgiving. But I really love this particular stand, this ranch. They have absolutely delicious avocados. And oftentimes when you buy avocados at the supermarket, you notice that they're always brown inside when you cut open it. So how long are these? 2 days out?
yeah. Like 3 or 4 days.
Okay. So 3 to 4 days out. So for my hors d'oeuvres for Thanksgiving, I always put a great guacamole out. That's like one of my mainstays.
Depends on whose taste buds it is,
There's a couple
because
soft
we have a
ones.
lot of people come.
So since I like to do my Thanksgivings primarily grain-free, or at least low grain, I always like to include other hearty kinds of vegetables, and I always like to include like a yummy mushroom dish, because mushrooms have incredible medicinal qualities. They're anti-cancer, and they could not be better for the brain. So let's walk over here and talk about mushrooms. So let me tell you a little bit. There's so many different varieties, but these are called cordyceps, and these are actually for the brain, for brain health, and you really build the immune system. All these different varieties all have different qualities in terms of medicinal health. Immune, anti-cancer, great for the brain. So I always like to include a beautiful basket or two of mushrooms in my Thanksgiving meal. And the easiest way to prepare them is take your raw butter from organic dairy pastures and cut up some garlic. Here we go, cut up some garlic and a little olive oil, saute them. And when you're serving the turkey, I would just cover your plate and surround it with these incredible mushrooms. So let's go ahead and get a basket of this today. Here's our next stop, and I call you the spice guy because you are the spice guy. I used to make my own spices, and a lot of you who've tried my cooking before and been to my cooking classes, I show you how to, dry the herbs and brown them and blah, blah, blah. Don't bother. You got to come to the, how do you pronounce it? Convivial spice guy. So now I'm not making my own spices, I will admit, but I'm buying them over here because they're sensational. So can you tell us about what you have today and
Sure.
what your blends are?
What's in your hand right now is our smoked salt. It's a
God.
Malden sea salt flake
insane.
that we smoke for 10 to 12 hours.
Absolutely delicious. I'm gonna have it my second one. Do you mind?
Sure. And then this is our earth blend. Everything in here is grown in the United States except for the black pepper. We toast and grind it all. It's a very indigenous flavor. Great with cauliflower, with avocado. You can just sprinkle it on. Guacamole, lamb, pretty much anything where you want that It's almost like a garam masala or a Ethiopian bourbon.
Yummy. So what I'm going to do for my turkey this year is this is what I already bought. I take a combination of 3 different spices. Oh, you actually have a turkey brine?
The turkey brine comes with the gravy, stuffing,
Fantastic.
and a timeline, so you know when to start.
That's
how to
wonderful.
get
So
it
if I already have my savor and my sizzle at home, what do I need? What am I missing?
You're missing the brine, the recipe cards.
Okay, can I get the brine?
You don't.
Oh, you sell them together.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Oh, so I have to buy this all together. So look how great that is, though.
Yeah.
So my other obsessed, the smoked sea salt is insane, and I also do a lot of the curry. But for my turkey, what I was going to do, I was going to do a combination of the savory and the sizzle with my sea salt, rub it all over. So you do it inside the bag, all together with
when
the
it's
herbs?
cooking. Yeah.
You cook it in the bag?
Yeah. There's an oven bag.
Oh, in this kit?
Yeah. So there's an oven bag and a brining bag. So the brining bag is when you start on Tuesday, and then when you cook it, you know, it's a brand new dry bag. You put all the stuff in it, and you close it up, and what it does is it locks in all the steam and all the juices.
So my whole thing about cooking bag, and everyone knows I have kind of an eco-home detox company where I clear out all the plastics, the aluminums, all the potential BPA, aluminum, pesticides, toxins, chemicals. So,
BPA free.
okay, well, there you have it. All right, let me have one. I'm gonna buy that kit right now.
All right.
Got to get my kit. So I'm actually going to take the guesswork out of my turkey right now because I was going to do this all from scratch, but I'm just going to let my convivial spice man do it. Thank you so much. Perfect. I'm so excited. Hello everyone. So my last stop, but not my least stop, is at the Fermenting Fairy. This is Lauren, and she's come up with this product line that has taken fermented food to the next level. I've been fermenting food for about 5 years, and since the bulk of my practice is on gut health as it relates to the skin, the gut is the hub for everything. 500 million neurons from the gut connect to the brain, so every system in our body is controlled by the health of our gut. So what's happening now in my practice that I'm seeing is a lot of young people with ulcerative colitis. I've got a couple clients right now that are very young, under the age of 21, and varying degrees of irritable bowel disease, from diverticulitis all the way to Crohn's. So, Lauren, would you tell us a little bit about your story and how you came up with this really exquisite product line of the best tasting fermented foods?
Yes, absolutely. So about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's, and before my diagnosis, I was extremely sick and malnourished. I wasn't leaving my house because I was going to the bathroom up to 20 times a day, and I was couldn't even walk up one stair. I felt like I was about to faint. And upon my diagnosis, the doctors put me on a ton of immune suppressor medication. And I took that for about 4 months, and then I decided this was making me feel worse. It helped a little bit, but then I was starting to feel worse than I was feeling before, so I threw it away and just really relied on the intelligence of my own body. And I started adding a very high quality probiotic supplement.
Can I ask you what probiotic you use?
It's Natron.
So Natron is the probiotic I recommend for my clients.
Yes.
Because it does, Natron is a company that does something really interesting. Let me digress for one moment. They actually contain their probiotics in this oil gel cap where they're able to isolate and separate the strains so they don't cross-connect. Because oftentimes for different diseases of the bowel and also any other issues regarding gut, you need different probiotics for different things.
Yeah.
So Natron is a really fantastic product. So continue.
The best.
So
So after I realized that probiotics were helping me so much, I started buying sauerkraut and adding that to my diet, and it was making me feel amazing. I had more energy, I was going to the bathroom less, and I was just feeling really good, so I started making it on my own. And I realized that I loved the process of making it, and I was feeling better, so I started giving it to family and friends who also have IBD and other gut issues. And they were feeling amazing too. So that's how I started this company, Fermenting Fairy, is I want to spread the message that fermented foods are really so imperative to optimal health. So everything that I put in my products are for inflammation in the body, to decrease the inflammation in the gut. Yeah.
Fantastic. So some of my favorites. So I always have this sauerkraut on hand, and since I'm not a big sauerkraut person, I actually force myself to eat it. So the way that I incorporate it into my diet, I will do my Dave's eggs from Angelino Farm, or I'm sorry, I call him Dave. I'm sorry, Brian. Dave is gonna kill me. Brian's eggs from Angelino Farm. But I'll do like a bed of sauteed kale, and then I'll take this and I'll put like, all you really need is like a tablespoon.
A tablespoon to 2 tablespoons,
Right?
yeah.
So you don't need that much. And then I just put it as a garnish, and I mix it up with the kale and the egg, and it actually makes a really delightful flavor.
Yeah.
It's really gives it kind of a kick, which I really, really like.
And it's really good for the immune system. It's really high in vitamin C and vitamin B. So it has a lot of nutrients.
And then, of course, the coconut kefir. So I showed you up at the raw dairy place about their kefir. So this is the dairy-free version, and this is a really high strain of probiotics. And again, when I make my cleanses for my select clients, what I end up doing in my smoothies is I put a quarter cup in every one of their smoothies. Instead of giving them their probiotics, because we try during the cleanse to take the pills out and put the nutrients, food-based nutrients in. So I love this part. And then my kids are obsessed with the lemonade.
Lemonade,
It is fermented lemonade. So lemonade, we all know, is extremely high in sugar. And this is fermented, but yet it still has the sweetness without the sugar.
Yeah.
And it just also gets there's like a little fizz to it. It's really, yeah, I mean, she's all out of it and I'm really upset.
It's
But,
really good
yeah.
for pre-workout and post-workout.
Yes, post-workout.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you,
wonderful.
Lauren.
Thank you for
So
what you're doing. This
wonderful.
is
Thank
wonderful.
you.